So I'm just going to start applying EQ now to each of the sounds in this project. So we started with a live band. So we've got an acoustic drum kit, some percussion, bass, guitar and keys. All I'm going to do is I'm going to work through each sound. I'm just going to let it play around this area that's selected, which is kind of a chorus section, a little breakdown and a build up again. I've removed the vocals for now, just muted them, just so we can focus on the instrumentation. And I'm actually going to start with the keys, and then I'm going to go to the drums and work through the rest of it. So if I go to my keys to start with, so remember, if you just press the thumbnail, it will load the EQ. And as a general rule here, if I just mute the output, so I am going to be looking at each of my sounds, and what I'm going to be trying to do is to remove any kind of unused space in the frequency range so that other sounds can fit into that. Just, I want you to think about jigsaw pieces. So if I was to remove low frequencies from the keys like this, at the moment, that section, there aren't any frequencies in there, or there is nothing that's been used. You can see that there's nothing there. So that means that I'm pretty confident that I can remove all of that part of the sound without damaging the main body and the main parts that I want to keep. Now, as a general rule, if you remove sections from sounds, if you move this kind of empty space, other sounds will be able to fit in there. And the reason why you would want to remove that space is because sound can still build up. And if we start to put this through other effects, so potentially reverb, this low frequency can start to build up and cause a little bit of muddiness and can make our mixes sound unclear. So we're going to try and subtract as much as we do not need. Okay, so when you subtract something or when you apply your EQ, I recommend that you possibly take it too far so you can hear that it's changed the sound, and then come back to a position where it's comfortable. So as I say, I'm going to work through some of these sounds now and just let the whole mix play, just so you can see how to approach it. So as this is coming into this little breakdown section, there's obviously not much drums. It's going to start building back up. So we've applied a little bit of EQ there just to some of the sounds, and you can see that generally what I was doing was removing the parts of the sounds that I don't want, just to try and get them to fit together. It doesn't have to be the exact EQ move that is going to remain for the whole project. It's just my starting point, just to get some of these sounds to fit together. You might have noticed that I copied the EQ from the overheads so that they were the same, because those are a stereo pair. They should be looking at the kit as a pair of microphones, so I treat them the same. So obviously once you've now applied some of your EQ, you can focus in a little bit more on the sounds. You can obviously isolate them, you can solo them and listen to what's there, and alter the EQ a little bit. So for example, if I do a little bit on the kick drum now, so you might have noticed that within the kick, I took a little bit of the low frequency away, and then some of the mids, and then the very top. So that's basically because within our kick drum, we've kind of got three sounds. We've got like a boomy bit, we've got a thud, and then we've got a click at the top. So the click in the presence range. We don't need any of this air. We don't need any of this muddiness in the middle. And we don't need the very, very bottom, because that's where the sub from our bass is going to be. So as a rough starting point, this is what I go for, but then would always look to change this afterwards. So we have a listen now. Now obviously what you saw then was I just bypassed the EQ just so that we could hear the kick drum before and after the EQ has been applied. You'll also notice that because this is a live recording, there is a lot of spill and there are bits of cymbals and other sounds that are coming across. We're not going to get rid of them 100%, but that's not the aim in a live band. This is one instrument. All of the drums should be processed and thought about together. So that's why I'm not really focusing on getting rid of those kind of bits of spill, but another reason why I am listening to the drum kit as a whole.